Take your life seriously.
Okay, welcome to the Beyond Limits podcast. Mark is very generously letting me practice these intros to these because I am rubbish at them.
He sucks.
So today we haven't come up with a name yet. I thought of Two Men, One Buck.
But that sounds disgusting.
It just sounds disgusting. So that was palmed off.
If you get the reference.
But all it's going to be about, okay, is us two referencing one book that we've both chosen to read for various reasons. And when we read that book, we're going to pick parts that Mark liked, pick parts that I liked, and then also talk about some action plans that we're going to implement in our day-to-day life, or at least try to implement. Then I thought what would be good is in 6 months to come back and then to see if we put those implementations in or whether we sacked them off. Because sometimes we like to implement, but it doesn't really work out.
Planning without execution is very common. And, it's common for a lot of people. They get like New Year's resolutions. You get the motivation, you put the plan together, but fail on execution. Anyway, this month's book is Cat in the Hat. Now, it took me a month to read this. No, it's not Cat in the Hat. It's Deep Work by a gentleman called Cal Newport. I think you told me about this book a long time ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually read the book. I think it was about a year and a half ago. Really interesting character, Cal. He actually hasn't got any social media.
Okay, which is why he can go deep.
Yeah, and he's a professor at one of these big universities. He's a family man. He writes papers. He's built these companies. He's written books. So he definitely, his output is big. And he says he only works till 5. He turns his phone off, doesn't work on the weekends. Sounds like the dream life to a lot of us, I feel. But yeah, it's hard. Isn't it?
and do you know what I like most about it? I listen to it. I do a lot of driving, so I listen to books. What I really liked about it is the discipline that he has, because nowadays there are so many distractions. Like I've often thought about this recently, about back to my childhood, like with really fond memories of when you had 4 TV channels and there was no internet. And it was a lot easier to focus and concentrate than it is now, because there was less to distract you. Do you know what I mean? And, to be able to actually execute deep work nowadays with the amount of distractions that there are, I think is an admirable skill, which requires a lot of discipline, which is what I think attracted me to this book and what I really enjoyed about it. And I learned a lot from it, and some of it was pure common sense, but not common practice.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to talk about what our key takeaways were from the book and what we are going to implement as a result of those takeaways. So, do you want to go first?
I can go first, yeah. And I think you're right. I think the book in general is a good refresher. Just because I think a lot of people know the stuff that you should be doing anyway, but you are right, it's the implementation. And I think that's going to be big in today's society in general. The information's out there, but the accountability and the stuff and applying that is difficult. Something we talked about earlier on. So my first key takeaway, and actually when I read this book years ago, this should probably have been common sense, maybe common sense to a lot of people, but for me it wasn't. Multitasking is not effective.
Ugh.
It's not effective. And I would be one of those persons that would be like, okay, I'm halfway doing something and then someone else would pop up, so I'd do that and I'd be like, oh, I've got a lot of little things done today, but only halfway through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was quite effective, because eventually you over time, but then the studies show, he's done all studies to back up this information. It's not just what he's recommending, it's study backed information, that multitasking is a bit like having windows open on your computer, like 1,000 windows open. Right. It slows it all down. Yeah, and it slows the whole system down almost. You clear all the windows, everything runs a bit smoother. You have one window open.
Do you know? I can't remember now for the life of me if it was while I was reading this book or something that I listened to after. But it's funny because I tried to explain this to my wife and kids for years. Mm-hmm. When I am trying to do what I would refer to in my world as deep work, I'll say to them, I'm going in the office, don't come in for an hour because I need to concentrate. And, they're kids, they'd come in anyway and they'd distract me. And I'd find it really hard to get back on track of what I was doing. And I honestly can't remember if it was this book or not, but the science shows that it takes an average of 23 minutes to get back mentally on track to where you were before. So when you're multitasking, if 1 minute you're planning your month, then the next minute you're reading a book, then the next minute you're writing the grocery list out. To get back to planning your month, that first task can take your brain 23 minutes on average to be able to refocus, which is why I think he says that multitasking doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because mentally, you may think that you're making a lot of progress, but you're not. And you need to go deep and be completely focused, minimize those distractions. That's when you're productive.
So have you always known that multitasking is not effective?
I have, mate, but I'll be honest with you. Just because I've known it, it doesn't mean that I've stopped doing it. Because it's just the fear. It's like a million dopamine hits in one. Rather than one big one that you wait for, you delay. It's like instant gratification. It's like, right, take that off my list. Take that off my list. Done that. Sent that email. Made that call. Sent that text. Blah, 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 blah. I've done so much. And then you look back, you're like, didn't really. And what I tend to do is if there's a big thing that's, even if it's more important than the little things, I'll put that off because I'm like, well, I can get 10 little things done rather than one big thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's hard. It's hard. But multitasking is not effective.
Okay, so going on to your list then. The first one on your list is deep work is valuable.
Yeah, and it's just following on from what I just said. It is valuable. I'm trying to write 2 books right now. I spin a lot of plates. So my life feels like constant multitasking.
Yeah.
But after reading this and making some decisions and making some changes, I understand that I can spin all those plates but still do the deep work because it is valuable. And I'll talk about some of the takeaways and actions that I'm going to put into effect later on. But we've all done it at one point where we have just completely focused on one task at hand, and you do surprise yourself of what you can get accomplished in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I could write in a morning on a good day. I could probably write 2, maybe 3 first draft chapters of a book if I just went from 8 in the morning, no one distracted me, up till lunchtime. That's like good. 4.5 hours, because it's just spitting out of my brain. And then if you couple that up with technology, maybe you dictate it, maybe you have a ghostwriter, whatever it is, then you can do even more. But I can't write a chapter, check my Instagram.
Yeah.
Because then there's another hour to get me back to write the next chapter, and then it stresses me out. My brain's like, why did you do that? And you just need to be in that flow. For me, and when you do the deep work, you'll start to mentally fatigue when you're like, right, I'm getting to my limit now. Maybe it's time to start, teetering off. And then I'll just draw a line under it for the day and just enjoy the fact that I've done that deep work and then do the same again tomorrow. But it is hard. It is difficult.
So just keeping on that thought process, 2 books you're writing at the minute. Do you think maybe a better option would be to focus on one book, finish that book and then write the other? Is that just not practical for you? Is that because I'm sure in this book he does talk about J.K. Rowling when she disappeared off to a hotel, and stayed there and just finished off the last few chapters. Do you think that might be a better option?
I think focusing on one, the autobiography is the one I need to focus on. And the reason I focus on it is because, to me, that's the more enjoyable option.
Nice.
And it's easier because I'm literally just typing out all the thoughts that come in my head, like vomiting them onto my laptop as they come into my head. And because I'm writing this book from memories, it's all in a chronological order. It's easy, and I find it quite cathartic and therapeutic. And I'm not going to go off to a hotel, but I do have the van. And I am going to take it. At the minute, I just sit in my dining room and do it when the kids are at school. But I would like to take the van off to the beach where there's no signal and I can turn my phone off anyway and just sit there in peace with no distractions in the corner of a car park by the beach and just, bash out. And I would just do it. I know from knowing myself intimately that a morning's work is probably enough for me. I wouldn't go from first thing in the morning to last thing at night, because I think anything more than 4 hours for me is just unproductive. And I need to change it. I need to flip to something else that requires less brain power and less focus. But that's all to do with, I think, figuring out your own algorithms and your routines, you know?
It is. That goes next onto my point as well. So deep work, 1 hour is a novice's ability to be able to do. 4 hours is an elite level.
Oh, wow.
So even if you're like think you can do 8 hours, the top in the world can only do 4 hours of deep work.
Okay.
So, you know, that goes back to what you said. I've done days before, especially at the minute I'm working a little bit with my wife. And I'm like, look, we've got the whole day together. Let's just sit down and we'll just work. You're right. The morning's really productive. We're smashing things out. And then the afternoon, I'm like, come on, we'll keep pushing. And actually, we spent like, I think it was like an hour of the day writing this email out. And at the end, I was like, this email's too in depth. We've just gone too, we thought about it too much. We just need to bin it and we only just need to write a text. And then we ended up just binning it. I was like, it's an hour and a half work. But I was like, we were just in the wrong state of mind when we were doing that. Oh, what was that noise?
That was my phone.
The phone's gone down. Give me 2 seconds. We're going to reset this phone.
So one thing I did actually this weekend was I created what's called an energy log. And it was after I'm reading one of Rob Moore's books at the minute. And it's called Life Leverage. And he talks about an energy log where you record where your high energy is in the day, where your low energy is during the day, when you get your most productive work done. So me, I get up at 5:15 every morning. I'm going to start changing that to 5. And if I got up at 5 in the morning, went straight into my office, I could work at a high level for probably 4 hours straight. I know that.
Yeah.
I need to restructure my day around that. I know that from about 11:45 in the morning, I start to flag. And that's probably because I get hungry. And then that time between 11:45 and 1:30, 2 o'clock, I kind of need to be away from work. And what I generally do is if I'm at home, I'll go and watch YouTube and catch up on all like the UFC news and gossip.
Yeah.
And it helps my brain decompress. Then I'll get back to doing some more low level work, like answering emails, setting meetings, sending messages from like 2 till just after 3. Then I know the kids are going to come home from school and I've got zero chance of getting hardly anything done. So I try and take that time off. And then in the evening, what I'll do is set myself up for the next day. And then I'll send out the emails and plan my day and look at my to-do list. And then I try, and I think you're going to talk about this later, I try to kind of have a cut-off point, but it's never that easy. But I need to be a bit more disciplined in that way. So, yeah.
That's
Energy logs.
Energy logs. Okay, let's go on to yours. Eliminating distractions. Go hard.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was really cool, and it kind of applies to, you know, if you're writing books or articles and stuff, but it's more to the low level tasks, is set a timer, like we've done for this podcast, for like 25 minutes, and then just go hard for that 25 minutes. And no matter what point you're at when that 25 minutes is up, you stop.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the exact numbers. I think maybe he says take a 5 to 10 minute break.
Yeah, it's 5, yeah.
Then come back and then bash out another 25 minutes. And that works in certain situations for me. And it's normally the low level tasks where you're getting a lot done in a short space of time.
Yeah.
I think with something like book writing, I need to go for an hour.
Yeah.
And then take maybe a 10-minute break.
Yeah.
Again, it's all individual, but for low level tasks, emails, calls, text messages, that kind of stuff, then going hard for that short space of time is quite an effective method for me.
It's quite hard. It's quite difficult to do because you think, just go, keep going while you've got time, and then not giving yourself those breaks is going to be more productive. But actually taking that little bit of rest to like think, okay, step back a little bit, and then go back with fresh eyes. It almost gives you a better, which I think this book is amazing at talking about, is you getting a better quality of the work as well, which is really important to both of us. So it's like you're maximizing your time, but the quality output of that time is way more, which is like, that's what everyone wants, I think.
And I think it's important in that 5-minute break as well, not to pick up the phone and go on to Instagram or whatever, because like I said just now, it takes you 20 plus minutes to refocus. It's maybe just to get out, walk around the house. You know what I like to do, my office at home is right next to my kitchen, so I'll like wipe the sides down, maybe empty the dishwasher in that little break, but keep focused mentally on what I'm doing, but just do some menial task in between and then go back to it. And that helps me feel productive, because I know I've done 25 minutes of mental work little bit of housework,
Yeah, nice.
and then go back to the mental work again.
Beautiful. Okay, so my next one is also we didn't touch on the myelin. So deep work increases myelin that goes around your pathways in your brain. I'm not any kind of scientist. I'm a caveman at best. Okay, but the way I imagine it is like a sheath around the pathways in your brain, and the thicker that sheath is, the faster you can sort of make the connections. I think about it in jiu-jitsu because that's all I do. I feel like if you study a move for a long time, your reaction to that move's quicker. You understand it, and sometimes your conscious doesn't have to think about it. Your subconscious knows it because it's that quick. So sometimes when I'm rolling, I don't have to think about anything. I'm in my subconscious brain almost, and that's when I feel like you're getting good. So I think if you can increase that on buck writing, for an example, it means you're just going to get faster and faster. So I think deep work makes that quicker. So I'm hoping it becomes a thing where, you know, because I'm not very good at this at the minute, but I'm hoping in same as jits, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, I might be quite good at this. It'd be nice to do a 4-hour day and get a really productive hour. So I'll move on to the next one. Time blocking.
Right.
Time blocking is something I'm trying to get better at because I feel like it's difficult when you're busy to do because it changes almost every day. But I think just putting time aside the day before, I think is important. And maybe I've got a habit now of going to my diary the day before at least and doing a to-do list. We'll talk about that later on the shutdown. But just knowing what's coming up the next day, blocking out time for it, and it will change. But if you get that block of time and you have to push it to the next day, then you push it to the next day. One thing I will say if you're time blocking, what I've found is just double the time, okay? Because you're going to think something that will take half an hour actually takes an hour. Do you use time blocking at all?
Yes, I do. The thing I struggle with time blocking is I'm very much like, right, this is my job, my mission, my task, let's go at it. And then if I get distracted, if someone like needs my time, it pisses me off. I know it shouldn't, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, dude, do you not see I've got a block of stuff to do? Like, leave me alone. You know what I mean? And again, it's like getting back on track. And you got to try and balance it, mate, because, I mean, you could be like a monk and have this rigid schedule and stick to it and never veer from it, and then just start ignoring people and calls and stuff. But then, you know, that's not life, is it?
No.
Do you know what I mean? You just got to learn to manage those distractions and be better.
He does talk about there's different types of deep work that he suggests. One of them was like a monk life kind of. I think he said was Carl Jung had like he had a place where he would go and do his deep work, but then he would only work in the morning and then he'd rest in the evening. But that's like a monk lifestyle where you can cut yourself away from everyone. And he said it's not for everyone. Someone like you, I don't think that's going to be for, because you're in and out. So there's different types of sort of
excuse me,
deep work that you can use. So that's good to know that, and not to, you know, because you can't cut yourself off. Too many people can. I can't.
No.
Your next one.
Embrace boredom. Oof. Yeah, this is difficult to do. I think our brains are so used to now firing all the time because of all the distractions, the notifications, the social media, emails, phone calls, texts. It's difficult to be bored now. That's why we all reach for the phone the minute we got a spare. You remember like when you were growing up and Coronation Street was on or whatever, and the break came on, and that was like the signal to go make a cup of tea or grab a snack. Now, watch what people do now. Instantly go for their phones. Like when they're in traffic, grab for the phone. And, you know, it's so hard to just embrace being bored anymore. It's like this big negative. Everyone looks at boredom as this negative. I think you just need to embrace it more, and it gives your brain a chance to just decompress as well, I think.
Yeah.
You need those low level, meaningless thoughts, those caveman thoughts as well, like, it's warm today. You know what I mean? You just need to embrace that a little bit and just let your brain, just kind of decompress. And, you know, you can't be working max chat for the whole day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You just talk about practicing that in like queues and stuff. If you're ever waiting in a queue or shopping.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
You watch, mate, people go straight for their phone.
Yeah.
They grab their phone while they're queuing up for their groceries or whatever. And, you know, just sit. Don't do it. Like,
yeah, it's hard though, isn't it?
It is hard, mate. It sucks. It's really hard. I don't know how we ever got like this.
Well, especially if you feel like you want to be productive, you're like, right, I've got 10 minutes in this queue now, so if I can just answer back some stuff for 10 minutes, then I'm winning.
Yeah.
But really, you do need to practice that sort of being bored, especially if you do stuff like writing a book, because sometimes you've just got to be in that thing where you're trying to go deeper and deeper into your brain, and you're going to have to be in that like bored state where you're like, oh, does that sound right? Does this sound right? No, I don't want to say this. Or it's practicing that. It's difficult. Something I'm going to try and implement, actually. I haven't put that on my list at the end, but maybe I should put that on there.
I think maybe in those moments of boredom as well, just try and figure out what to replace picking up your phone with. So if I'm at home and I've got my prosthetics off and I'm, bored and front room floor, whatever, I'll just stretch maybe for a bit.
Yeah.
Or, if I'm sat in the car in the school run and I'm bored, I'll have a book in the car instead of picking my phone up. Or I went through a stage actually where I'd get to school probably about 20 minutes before I should have been there. And I used to use that time as like a afternoon nap / meditation, just to recharge for the rest of the day. And that was quite nice. But again, that takes a bit of discipline. But yeah, embrace the boredom and figure out something to replace doom scrolling with.
Cool. So mine was, I loved this walking meditation that he does. And I think there's a few people I've actually heard about that do this. They just go for walks.
Man, I'm so jealous. Like, I've thought about this for a long time now. There's a lot of people I've seen that do this, and I would love to be able to like get up at 5 a.m, go for a walk through the park, and do what you're about to talk about. So yeah. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I know what you mean. It's yeah, and I think sometimes probably I take that for granted because that is something that I can do it quite easily and go out, and I don't do it at all. It's hard for me to implement that. I say it's hard, it's not really. But I feel like I can put that into stuff I already do. So I use the Stepmaster quite a bit, but I'm normally trying to be productive on there as well, like answer stuff. But maybe I should just not do anything and then just try to... It's not like, because you still are being productive, but you're thinking about issues that you want to solve or deeper stuff that you want to go into or future goals or stuff like that. So I think a walk-in meditation might be good, because I've tried meditation before and it's hard for me to do. I do a stretching meditation called 6 Phase. It's on YouTube. It's really good. It goes through like gratitude, everything. There's 6 phases to it. I do that most days anyway, but that's more for the gratitude meditation, and it sort of guides you down it. But actual straight meditation, when I'm trying not to think about anything, I find really hard to do.
Yeah, it is hard.
Do you do that daily or weekly, or do you do it at all?
You can't not think about nothing.
No.
Do you know what I mean? There's always something comes up.
Yeah.
But there is so Sundays is when I like to have the big decompress. I did it yesterday. I get up on my bedroom floor, I take all my prosthetics off. I got this thing called an hoodie. It's like a giant fleece lined hoodie, and because I'm only like 3.5 feet tall, it's like a sleeping bag for me.
Yes.
And I put my earphones on, pull the hoodie up, put a t-shirt over my eyes so it's completely black, and then just try to think about nothing.
Nice.
And it takes about 10 minutes because all sorts of shit comes flying into your brain.
Yeah.
And then and you're like, one minute you're about this, then it's about that, and it takes time. And focusing on your breathing really helps.
Yeah.
Just like in and out and in and out. And then when you do it and it hits right, it's insane. It's a really weird feeling. Like a nice feeling.
Yeah.
Where you just like, not like an out of body experience, but just really connecting with your brain and your body and just letting it be whatever it is. You just let it happen. It's but it is really hard to do.
Yeah, I think that's probably the 10 minutes mark is where I'll just get like, oh, I can't do this, and I'll just get like fed up of it. So maybe I need to push a little bit more and then just try and get it. Because I suppose it's what we're talking about, where we are constantly thinking and your brain's just taking, I know you can't stop thinking, but it's taking a little bit of a slow down and just not thinking about anything, connecting to your body a bit more, which is something we don't do.
What I find really helpful is having a certain frequency on.
Yeah.
So I can't remember if it's theta or delta waves. One of them helps to access the deeper parts of your brain. But just having that on as a distraction and focusing on your breathing, it limits all the bullshit you can think about. I find anyway. So I'll have like a frequency on, and just try and focus on that, and then just breathing in and out, and you can go deep like that.
I want to see a picture of you in this fleecy onesie as well that you've got going on, mate.
I'll take one.
You need to get that on the podcast. PB
It's
Media.
called an Udi.
An
Or
Udi.
Udi.
Okay, so that is all the key takeaways. We're going to take a quick break now. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the action plans that we're going to implement in our lives. Also, what we're going to do is check in 6 months, because sometimes with these books, I know Mark feels the same because we talked about it before, is sometimes a whole book, you're going to get 1 or 2 nuggets out of it, and then you're going to try and implement those 1 or 2 nuggets, and maybe some things stick and some things don't. Unfortunately, it's just the way it goes. We are back. Woo! Okay, so we had a quick break. So next, we talked about all the actual points that the key points we took away. Now we're going to go on to the stuff that we're going to try and implement into our lives. Do you want to start with this one?
Yes, I've been doing this for a little while now, and it is incredibly powerful. And for me, it reduces my stress massively. It reduces the overwhelm massively. And it's so simple, and it's airplane mode on my phone.
Yeah.
Like right now. So right now is a little bit different, right? My phone is on the shelf live streaming to TikTok. So it's on Do Not Disturb. I used to use Do Not Disturb, but the problem with Do Not Disturb is you still can see notifications come through on your phone.
How can you?
With airplane mode, nothing comes through. And do you know, I tell you how I discovered this was ironically on an airplane.
Yeah.
Traveling somewhere, and I had all this stuff to do. And I thought, well, there's no Wi-Fi on the plane, so I can just save all this stuff up. I've got 8 hours sat on a plane. I can answer all the things I need to answer. I can send all the emails I need to send. I can send texts and WhatsApps to all the people that I need to. Now, the thing is, normally, if you don't have airplane mode on, even if you've got Do Not Disturb on, if you text me something and I text you back and then I moved on to someone else, you can text me straight back. It's like playing table tennis, right? With texts and stuff. And it stresses me out because you're like, I just want to get through this list of stuff. But when you put airplane mode on, you're in control. So then I'll message you back, the next person back, the next person back, send that email, reply to that email, and I'll hit send, but it will go nowhere. The minute I put Wi-Fi on or 4G, all of it goes whoosh at the same time. Yeah. And then I feel like I've accomplished all the things I need to, and then I'm just waiting for people to come back to me. It's so much easier for me and less stressful than just constantly like ping, 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 ping. So I use airplane mode a lot when it comes to getting a lot of stuff done, particularly on like to-do lists.
I think that table tennis analogy is, bang on with that.
You just backwards and forwards all the time. And it's stressful as hell, man. And then again, like from a concentration point of view, I send you a message, and then I go into the next one, and I'm thinking about this next message or this next email and what I've got to say, and then ping, you get back to me. I'm like, all right, I'll go back to Ricky now, and then I forgot that one.
Yeah.
Whereas in airplane mode, you're in control.
Yeah.
And you answer, I answer you, I answer the next one, I answer the next one, reply to the next one, whoosh, send them all out in one go. And then if I want to, I just leave airplane mode on for the next hour. You know?
Yeah, game changer, I think. I think I use this a few times if I'm working sometimes a bit later. Probably shouldn't be doing it, but sometimes I do have to work late, and I'll answer back messages, and then I'll answer back messages on airplane mode, wake up early, turn my phone on to normal mode. They get sent out. Then I'm busy in the mornings anyway. And then I'm not free probably till about 10, 11. Then when I go back, all of them have been replied to, so then I can bulk message the replies. So game changer. Love that one. One for me is the walking meditation we talked about. It was the last thing on the list.
Rewarding yourself as well.
Rewarding. Oh, so I missed that one out before. Yeah. So rewarding yourself and we'll talk about this within. So I'm probably not the best at, and I did do a little bit over Christmas, and last year I went on a few holidays. Because we're goal-orientated people, I feel like I'm just, that goes done, what's next? That goes done, what's next? And sometimes I feel like I need to sort of take a step back, and actually over Christmas, and I took a sort of 2-month break off social media, which was a game changer as well, to be honest. And just got into like, okay, what do I want to do? Where's this year going? And I feel like, I think it's one thing from lockdown that I learned was stepping away from everything for a little bit it really gives you focus on the bigger picture. So more rewarding on myself. That's what I need to do more of. So more rewarding. And also, like, the thing I try and say to myself is, yeah, it's deep work, but it's also deep rest. That's really important. So that's one that I'm going to implement. Your next one?
Boundaries.
To increase deep rest.
I am a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And it's irritating. It's something I've tried to change for a long time. And what I mean by that is, if someone needs my attention, they need my support, they need my help, then I'll give it to them like there and then. And I've never really had any boundaries in place when it comes to that kind of stuff, because I personally have thought wrongly, that it's rude, and that if someone needs me, then I should give them my attention right away. And the more stuff you do in life, professionally, or even personally, hobbies, whatever brings you joy in your life, the more stuff you do, if you continue to be reactive to other people's needs and wants, it's stressful.
Yeah.
And so now I put like we talked about airplane mode, right? I put boundaries in place. It's like, I will reply to you when I'm ready, if I decide to reply at all. Because I get people, we were talking about this off air, I have coaching clients now. For years, I wouldn't call them that. They were just people that I would help and support. Strangers that would email me, DM me, oh, Mark, this just happened in my life. I'm struggling with this. Can you help me with that? And out of some weird sense of responsibility and duty, I would give up my time. I would help these people, support these people, just because I thought it was the right thing to do. Now, in 2024, when I've become a lot more rigid with things, with business, if you like, I've had to put boundaries in place. And when people contact me now, I'm like, okay, cool. However, guess what? This is what I do for a living. So these are the rules. It's going to cost you this much money. This is what you get for that, as in my time, my expertise, my knowledge, coaching, guidance, wisdom, whatever you want to call it. And these are the boundaries I put in place. And I won't move from them now. You know what I mean? Even if someone's paying me, I'm sorry, but I don't care. We've been clear from the beginning. This is what you get. These are the boundaries. I don't care if you think because you're paying me that I should do extra.
Yeah.
There needs to be boundaries in place, because I think what a lot of people forget with me is, I've got 3 kids. I've got a wife. I train regularly. Yes, I could not train. However, I'm not willing to, because without my health, everything else falls down.
Yeah.
And I need them boundaries in place. So, and sometimes that requires me to turn things down. So be it, but it's taken me 15 years to get to this point, to put boundaries in place, because you know what the world's like. People will be, especially in this niche that I work in with the coaching and helping people, someone gets in contact and you put these boundaries in place and you say, right, this is the deal. This is what it's going to cost. This is what you get. Some people turn around and go, you're a bit of a dick. What do you mean you're going to charge me money to help me? I'm like, well, you're taking up my time. My time's valuable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have to feel like I'm getting something from that relationship too. And what I think a lot of people forget in my situation is I've given over 15 years of my life to people for free, for nothing. Do you know what I mean? And what I think caused me to change is I see a lot of people online, and this is hard for me to say because it sounds arrogant, but when I sit back and look at my life and the things I've done and I've achieved and I've overcome, Royal Marine at 17, war at 19, bodyguard at 21, war at 24, triple amputee at 24, most successful Invictus Games athlete ever, raised a family, all this crap. I look at other people who are online, coaching and giving advice, and I dig a little bit into their history. I'm like, what have you done? Oh, I did this course to be a life coach. And I'm like, and people pay you money for your knowledge and advice. Like, yeah. And I'm like, why am I not leveraging my life and experience and knowledge and earning and living from it, when this other person is, who on paper hasn't done half the things that I've done, but is earning a decent living from it?
Yeah.
And you got to just kind of draw that line somewhere, put those boundaries in place and put a flag in the ground, I guess.
You have. And I think, I don't think it sounds arrogant at all, because the thing is with you, and I know what you're like because I've been working with you for a while now. You do give a lot. You give a lot, and sometimes that's, for one, you're limited if you give away for free what you can actually give away, because you have got a family, you have got kids, you've got to feed them, you know, and also the quality of what you can give back is like, if you're doing it for free all the time, actually the quality of what you're, you know, if someone's like messaging you, mate, I need help with it, I know you'd get back to them, but the quality of that would only be what you can do. But if you're saying, look, this is the free advice, this is the, you know, the companies I work with and the people that I use that are really amazing, you can see them. If you want to see me more in depth, you want me to give you more time, then this is what it would be, and then that allows you to give more high quality stuff to those individuals that might need that. And if they choose not to, well, there's the free advice, there's the high quality stuff there that I've had to put time into, like behind the scenes. That took me a lot of deep work, hours of stuff, you know, behind the scenes, putting into these programs that I'm giving out to people. There you go, this is what it will be. And also it ties them in accountability as well, because you know what it's like in this world is people sometimes just want to blurt out stuff, you know, and they don't want to do anything behind that. When you're saying, look, if you're serious about getting better and you want this help, this is the path, this is what it's going to cost you, so it's going to cost you something to sort of to give that as well. So I think it's a exact path that you're on is really good.
Do you know what, like, just following on from that, a quote I had a while ago, quite a few years ago, was that free advice is worth every penny. And you're right, like if I feel I've got this fair exchange here of, I'll give you my advice, coaching, knowledge, mentorship in exchange for remuneration. I'm going to work harder, give you better advice and help you more. Plus, if you've invested your money into me or someone like me helping and supporting you, when I say do this, do that, do the other, you're going to do it. When it's free, you'd be like, I ain't going to bother. It's like training, right? Like if you said to somebody, I'll give you a year's free training. And it's funny actually, because this happens sometimes with reorg.
Yeah, it does.
When we started, we were giving out years free memberships. People would turn up like twice and then not train again. Great for the gym owner because they get a year's membership. But that person is then taking that spot away from someone else. Now, if I said to you, or if you said to me, Mark, it's going to cost you £1,000 a month if my goal was to become a black belt world champion in 12 months, right? Yeah. And you said it's £1,000 a month for my privates. I'm going to be at every private that you've got because I'm paying you £1,000 a month. If you said, yeah, I'll do it for free, mate, then I might be sore one day. I'm like, I won't bother today. Bit sore today. It'll cost me anything. You know? So, and it's not, I don't look at it as, I've spent thousands that you have on books, courses, seminars. It's an investment. I look at it as, and because I've invested my time and money in it, that's why I take action on it. Yeah.
And I also know that you're the type of character that will, you're not taking that money and then spending that on, whatever. You're actually investing that into like higher quality stuff, more time where you can do more deep work, which then, it's a bit like this podcast. The more this podcast earns, the more we can get settings, we can get lighting, we can get decent cameras. So you invested it back into that course that you're offering back out anyway. So it's like that.
Just building constantly.
Right,
your last one.
Yes.
Shutdown
complete. So this is the one that I'm praying works for me. And something that I'm not too good at. So shutdown complete is, after your working day, what you should do is you should go through your to-do list. What did I tick off? What did I not tick off? What's going to be on for the next day is on for the next day. And then it's shutdown complete. And then you should have just deep rest. So it should be deep work followed by deep rest. And that means, watching TV with the kids, chilling out. And that's something that I'm trying to get good at this year. One, because as a sports person, I need to do that to recover. And two, as a dad, it's just, I feel like I want to be there more present. More present. Yeah, I want to be there more present when I'm with them and sometimes when I don't go through that to-do list, it stays on my mind. So then I'll be thinking about it. Oh, I need to write that down. I need to write this down. Whereas if I can do like a shutdown procedure and go through, okay, this is what I've got done. This is what I need to do tomorrow. And then just leave it. I think that'll be really helpful for me.
Yeah, me too, mate. I've got to be more disciplined in my evening routine.
Yeah, well, I think this is why the book reviews are good, because we can hold each other accountable. We know the information's out there. We can all chat GPT stuff now, okay? So it's all there, but accountability is not there. So I think this will be good. So we're going to wrap it up there?
Let's wrap it up.
Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to review these points we've trying to work on over the next 6 months, in 6 months. So then we're going to look back and say, how was your shutdown procedure, and we can both say, yeah, we've failed or we've passed. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Beyond Limit podcast.
For tuning in.
Book review.
Thank you for supporting us and for tuning in. As normal, we would love it if you'd like, comment, subscribe, and share to the podcast. It will continue to grow and to evolve, and very soon you'll see us in a new environment because we're moving studios. I'm not going to tell you where though. It's a secret location that no one will know except for me and Ricardo.
Peace out, guys. Have a good day.